Welcome to the Empowered Soccer Society, where we believe in working smarter, not harder, so you have more time and energy for the things that truly matter. Each week, we share a powerful strategy with a new guest expert to help you achieve more with less effort. If you want to get these weekly tips, subscribe to the channel, follow the podcast, and be sure to sign up for our weekly email newsletter. Everything is linked below. Let's get into this week's tip.
All right, here's a crazy statistic. Did you know that 80% of our thoughts are negative? That is wild because that means that out of the 60,000 thoughts that we have every day, about 40 to 48,000 of them are negative. And that's not because there's something wrong with you or there's something wrong with me. This is literally just what the research shows. The average person has 80% of their thoughts negative. So, slacker hackers, that's what we're going to dive into today. How can we stop these negative thoughts in their track so that they don't derail your life? They don't throw you off course, affect your mood, and give all your power away to these nasty little negative thoughts that are taking over our brain. So, who am I and why am I the person to share this with you? Well, hi, my name is Tara. If you follow me on social media, I am Tara's voice everywhere. And let me tell you, I've had my seasons of negative thoughts. I am now a resilience expert and a confidence coach. I teach women how to reclaim their power and how to bounce back better. I started coaching women 27 years ago, and I've been coaching women for all that time. And I've seen the difference between confidence and having negative thoughts and the things that we go through and how it affects our ability to show up as our best self. And so, about 15 years ago, I personally went through one of the worst seasons of my life. I was going through domestic violence. At the same time, my only daughter, who was 3, was diagnosed with high risk stage 4 cancer. And she's 19 now, but it was during that season, it was so hard because my thoughts were spinning out of control. And that was everything from, what's wrong with you? You're such a loser. How did you end up in this bad situation with this crazy guy? How did you miss all the warning signs? And then things like, you made a terrible mistake, all the way down to negative thoughts of, my daughter's going to die. She's not going to live. And what will I do? And so it was really a season that pushed me to take my control back, and not let these negative thoughts really shape that season and ultimately shape our life, because our thoughts shape our life and what we think shapes us. Our brain is constantly molding and moving, and neuroplasticity tells us that our brains rewire our entire life. And so this is either going to serve us for our best self, or it's going to hold us back from our dreams, our goals, the things that we really want. And it starts with how we think. So I'm going to teach you a very simple framework that you can use right away. I use it. I hope it serves you. I want you to be able to stop those thoughts and literally take back your power. I often think of a puppeteer, and this is what I was experiencing in that season of my life. It was my ex-husband who was the puppeteer, and he had a lot of personality issues and stuff like that. And he was this master puppeteer, and I was the puppet. And he would do something, and I would have a thought. And then all of a sudden, I would react about what was happening to me. And it was like he was having a great time. He was watching me, and here I was just giving away all my power. I literally fell right into the trap. And it took me a very long time to get out of that cycle of somebody doing something, me having a negative thought about it, and then just giving my power away and being controlled by them. Now, you may not have something quite as extreme as that, but I will tell you right now, the world wants you to think negative. Now, how do I have the confidence to say that? Because we are inundated with marketing. And I market my business, okay? And let's think about, what does marketing do? Marketing is designed to hit a pain point. It's to make us think, I need this. I need to spend money on this. If I don't, I won't be happy. I won't be successful. I won't be pretty. Like, it's there to designed to make us feel a void, that there is something missing in our life, that if you buy this, you will fill that void. And that's what marketing is. And we are inundated with marketing all day long. It is absolutely crazy. Now, I live in New Jersey. I live in a state where we don't pump our gas here. And I ended up in another state recently And I was just at the gas station and put the gas pump in my car, and all of a sudden the gas pump, an advertisement came on. I was like, oh my goodness. It is literally like you cannot get away from marketing. You can't get away from being told this is what's wrong with your life, but if you buy this, it will be better. So is it any surprise that 80% of our thoughts are negative? The world is actively trying to make us negative. And so, what does that mean? It means that we have to actively work against that, to harness our thoughts, to stop them in their tracks so that we can choose what we want to think. So, I'm going to teach you something so simple. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. If you need to pause this video, you can do that. And it's just 3 words, okay? And 3 letters, 1 word, because I don't think you have to wait until you feel powerful. You just have to act. ACT. So I'm going to teach you this concept super fast. It's something that I teach on a larger scale, but today you're going to learn it very quickly so you can just implement it today. How would that be? Would that be exciting for you? So A is to acknowledge the trigger. We cannot change what we do not see. And the first step is we need to acknowledge, oh, I have a negative thought. Where did that thought come from? We have to be aware. I had this thought and it is not serving me. This is my old reactionary mode. Things like, what made you think you could do that? You can't do that. You're crazy. Other people, what will other people think? You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. These are all negative thoughts. And so, first, we have to acknowledge, where did that come from? What triggered that thought? Was it something somebody said? Was it an email I got, a text that I got? Was I frustrated trying to do something? Did somebody at work say something? Did I see something on TV? The very first step is we have to acknowledge, where did that thought come from? Because if we don't acknowledge that, then we're going to spin down that spiral. Okay. And once we go down the I can't, we are going to think of all the reasons why we can't. So we've got to really quickly say, wait, where did that negative thought come from? What triggered that? And it might be that you notice all of a sudden your shoulders get tense or your tone just shifted a little bit. A big one is, did you notice that your confidence suddenly dropped? And if you did, then you know you were just triggered by something and it's a negative thought that's trying to weasel its way into your brain. So, first thing, we acknowledge and we pause. And here's what's powerful. Once we acknowledge it, we can literally say out loud, like, this is just a moment. This is just a moment. I'm having a thought. I get to decide what happens next, because the pause is really powerful. It's this gap between our impulse to react and the intention on how we're going to respond. And it's in this space, it's in this pause where we don't react and we actually get to choose how we respond. And that's where our power is. That is where we literally cut those puppet strings and go, whoa, I'm not letting other people, I'm not letting my crazy negative thoughts control me. I'm going to get to decide what happens next. And then the question you're going to ask yourself is, what is my next best move? So we say, this is a moment. It's just a moment. I get to decide what happens next. What is my next best move? And this is where we get the C. So now we get to choose who we want to be, because once we've paused, we get to choose. Now we don't have to react. Now the power is yours. And now I'm going to teach you the magic question, the one that I use that has changed my life. I use it all the time and I hope it serves you. The question is very simple. Are you ready? If I was being the very best version of myself right now, how would I be being? That's it. You just ask yourself that. How would you be? How would you respond to this? How would you show up? Maybe the best version of you doesn't respond at all. Sometimes no response is a response. Maybe the best version steps away for a moment. Maybe the best version speaks calmly and sets a boundary. And here's what's great. The best version of you is already there. You just need to pause long enough to connect with her, to let her decide what she wants to do. And when you pause long enough, you can take back your power and choose who you want to be in that moment. And then finally, it's the T. We're going to tell a new story, because here's what's true. Your story is your superpower. I love the word story because it comes from the word history, and history is something in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. And what's crazy is that history doesn't actually necessarily need to be true. And your stories don't necessarily need to be true. It's just that we assign meaning to it. And we make things up that give meanings to the things that happen to us that don't exist anymore. But we use those to shape who we are and what we think we are capable of. But the best part is we get to reframe, we get to decide. We get to say, hey, is this moment going to defeat me or is it going to develop me into my best self? Am I stuck in my pain or is this building my platform? Every single moment has meaning, but we get to decide that meaning. We get to decide what we're going to choose to think about that moment. And we hear this all the time, right? Like your mess is your message, your pain becomes your pulpit, but we get to choose. What is the story I'm telling myself about this? Is this helping me or is this hurting me? And if it's hurting me, well, then I get to choose a new story. A new story could be, hey, this is really hard right now. Yeah, but you know what? This is building my strength. This is building my resilience. And this is making me a better version of myself. Another story could be, hey, I didn't choose this. This definitely is happening to me, but I'm going to choose how I go through this. I've got this. I'm going to choose. And that's what I did with my daughter's cancer. I couldn't change the fact that I had to go through cancer with her, but I did choose to make it fun. We were going to have as much fun as possible. And that choice actually ended up becoming a best-selling new release book, a top 5 TEDx talk. It was just simply by the choice of how I was going to choose to go through a situation that I really couldn't control. So you can say, this is really challenging for me, but you know what? I am learning so much, and this is going to help me get to my next best level. And it's not that it ignores the pain. It's not denial. I mean, clearly I knew my daughter was going through cancer, but it's deciding that I get to choose how I'm going to handle this. This isn't happening to me. I'm choosing how this happens. I'm getting to reframe this. And what if everything we looked at, we did this, that it's not what's happening to me, it's what's happening for me. What if every story served you? Because that's your superpower. That's when you own it. And that is when you rise. So you just ask yourself this question. The situation is hard, but it's teaching me ... And I can use this to become more ... And every single time you have a negative thought, this is what you're going to use. Okay. So, very easy. You can use this in any situation. It's going to take back your power. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So I hope this serves you. I do have a gift for you. I have a 5-day resiliency challenge. It's to make you the most mentally strong, toughest person you know. I show up in your inbox for 5 days, and I'm going to teach you 5 different incredible tools that you're going to be able to have in your tool belt so that you will be able to handle anything that life throws you. You are going to take your power back, reclaim it, and become the most powerful, unstoppable version of you. Your confidence will soar, and your ability to go after your goals and your dreams and the things that are really important to you will become limitless. So I hope you will connect with me. Find me on social media. Check out my group, Hey Girl You Can. And I cannot wait to hear from your powerful self. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this Slacker hack of the week. Remember, smart work beats busy work. Until next time, stay empowered, stay slacking. If you want to do a good deed of the day and help us grow the channel and bring you even more amazing content, leave us a comment, subscribe, leave us a review, do all the things. We'll see you guys next time.